But with Wandavision ending and reminding us of the glory days of classic television, we realized one great thing we missed about the sitcom was the theme song. Bringing back our bracket showdown, in this episode of the show, we'll see which 80s sitcom theme song has what it takes to wear the crown. Believe it or not, this is Wayback Attack.
Welcome to Wayback Attack. My name is Brian Grantham, and sitting across the TV table of love is Preston Burt. Preston, are you ready to rank some theme songs?
I'm ready to rank some theme songs. I'm ready to rock out because some of these tunes are happening. Are you ready?
I was born ready, baby. I love theme songs. It's funny because I thought about bringing my CD book in here because I honestly have bought collections of theme songs, like multi-disc collections of just TV theme songs.
No, I've done that too. You know, I spent a lot of time in the car commuting to work, well, previously. Mm-hmm. And my friend and I that I commute with, we have listened to tons of TV show theme songs. A lot of times we'll just be like, name the song, and we'll go through YouTube. Mm-hmm. But we've actually had, when I would do Goodwill hunting, I'd find like a CD of just a compilation of discs of songs and go through those, and man, you can sing along to almost every one. Yes, almost every one.
It is an incredibly fun game. It was something that I loved to do back when XM, before XM and Sirius merged, and I had XM. And they had a channel called Cinemagic, and they just played movie scores, like songs from movie scores. And so that was like a fun game when I was like on a long road trip, was to be like, oh, what movie is this before looking? And sometimes it would be creepy because like it'd be like late at night and I'd be driving and be playing horror music, and I'd be like, oh man, I just feel like my tire's about to pop and someone's going to come out of the bushes and get me. So
yeah, and driving to your house especially, man, I made sure I turned off the Unsolved Mysteries show that I was listening to earlier. This creepy music, man, freaking me out. No, these songs, I've looked at all of our selections. I made a graphic for it, so I know what the picks are. We just don't know how they'll fare in the bracket status.
Yes,
but all of our picks are very happy and vibrant songs that I don't think anybody will have to worry about driving through the woods.
Yep.
And being scared about.
Well, before we get started,
oh please, yes, before.
I've got something for you that I think can help protect you from those creepy monsters.
Oh, good. What is it?
So I figured, you have a Ghostbusters pinball machine, right? And I got the perfect thing for you to use as a topper for it.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Okay, this is a Spangler's Neutrona.
Oh.
That's what it says, Neutrona wand. So, yeah, it's a zapper, man. Dude, this is awesome. So this is a brand new, made by Hasbro?
Yeah,
Wow, can I pop it open?
Sure, go for it. It's yours.
Dude, you rule.
I figured there has to be a way for you to be able to hardwire
some lights to work.
Well, from the machine, so like when something happens, like it turns on or makes like the sounds or something. There has to be a way to do it.
I'll get in here eventually. Almost.
If only I had a knife.
No, here we go.
Well,
I've got it. Okay.
All right.
Boom. Oh, dude. Dude. This thing is legit. Okay, I can't get all this stuff out, but look at that. Look at that. I broke that. There we go.
Gone
this
forever.
Thing is, life-sized. Wow.
It turns on, lights up, and makes the sounds.
Particle accelerator.
Just make sure you don't cross the streams.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Really cool.
I figured it's like perfect size for a topper.
It is. It's like, yeah, pinball topper width.
Well, I figure also, if anyone's watching, they may notice that I've got less beard going on. Right?
Yeah.
And so the reason for that is because have you seen Bridgerton, the hit Netflix show Bridgerton?
I know of Bridgerton, and I know the guy who stars in Bridgerton hosted Saturday Night Live. I have not watched either, though.
Okay. Well, just to give everybody an idea, so Anthony Bridgerton, I think, is the name of the character. And so Paige and I started watching this show recently, and she was like, hey, I was thinking about cutting my beard off. I just get tired of it. I had two things I was going to do. I was either going to cut it off, or my mustache was getting long enough that it was like touching my bottom part, and I was like, maybe I'll just let the hair grow into where it's like one solid piece.
Nasty.
And so I have to like comb the pieces to the side.
You're horrible.
So but anyways, so I went ahead and I didn't want to deal with that. So she was like this, but instead of turning out like someone from the Regency era of England, I wound up turning out to be the ska guy. It's so perfect too. I guess I need the hat. I need the pork hat.
You need a soul patch too.
Yeah, I do need a soul patch.
But yeah, if you pull out those Vans and some jam shorts,
the best thing is I did not create this image. So it's an image, and just think of like typical ska guy, and that's what it is, and it like points out the things that you need to be. But the best thing about it is so his shirt that he's wearing is an Operation Ivy shirt, and I'm wearing an Operation Ivy hoodie. I was like, I'm not going to take it off for the show, so I'll just leave it on. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing.
Ska's back in again. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, is this fourth wave?
It's getting resurgence. A lot of nostalgic fueling this fire, though.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm sure Tony Hawk 1 and 2 probably helped a little bit.
True. All right, so we're doing a little bit of chit chat before we get into the meat of the topic, and before we do dive in, unless you have something else you want to talk about, I wanted to mention something that we kind of works around what we did earlier today, and that we shared on our Patreon bonus episode last month, is that I've talked about it on the show before. I have an antiques booth in Dahlonega, Georgia, in a touristy town. Well, my friend who was doing it with me, he ended his tenure willingly. We're on great terms, but he got rid of the stuff he wanted to get rid of, and then he's like, I'm bailing. So that meant I had a slot open to share a booth, and Brian gleefully accepted. So now it's officially Wayback Attack.
The store.
Yeah.
And it's perfect too, because I didn't put any pictures, but you have there is some Wayback Attack stickers up there too.
Yeah.
So hey, if you're in the Dahlonega area, you want to snag some free stickers, go by there and grab some of those. Yeah.
So Brian has already started getting some stuff, stocking the shelves, and I've been giving him some tips of the trade. He's already gotten some new pickups, which is great. And today I went on an adventure, and he came along with me to go look at a hoard of stuff.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. and I bought it, and it's going to be a lot of stuff.
Now, mind you, when we say hoard, we mean a garage.
Yes.
It's like full garage.
Like to the ceiling of stuff.
It is only a single car garage.
True.
But yeah, from floor to ceiling.
Yeah. So it was so much stuff I couldn't even look through it all. So I just took like a representative sample to see, is this going to be worth my time? And paid the man his money. So look for fun stuff on my Twitter feed @SquaredStiff, and we'll share some stuff on Wayback Attack. It
was also a crazy range of things, right? We had like modern Pokemon cards.
Yes.
80s
Master of the Universe, He-Man,
paintball guns.
Yeah.
Avon shaving cream applications.
Yeah. Coca-Cola stuff. There was board games and baseball cards and Barbie and like, I don't know, muscle car magazines. It was everything.
Oh yeah, the female musclemen too.
Yeah. We found female musclemen. You know, the muscles.
Cuties.
They were cool.
Them cuties were cute.
Anyway, so I thought that was fun to share. Be on the lookout for Brian getting some cool things in the booth, and we'll be sharing those on social media. But I guess we've got, we started a little late. We probably got a lot of ground to cover. So I'm thinking, should we go ahead and just dive into and talk about our brackets?
Well, I would say that the crowd's Preston.
Oh my gosh.
They're pretty excited.
Can you believe it?
They want to celebrate with the best of 80s sitcom theme songs.
Now, disclaimer, these may not actually be the best of the 80s sitcom theme songs. These are just our picks. And now our picks were seeded by the fans. So we had 4 picks each. My 4 picks were Growing Pains, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers, and Family Ties. Brian's 4 picks were Golden Girls, It's the Gary Shandling Show, Night Court, and Cheers. Now, the way we seeded these was I put up our 4 separate picks to be picked by the fans. So on Twitter, we had 25 people who cooperated with us. Thank you so much if you voted. And those votes determined which rankings we have to start the bracket. So, all right. You can obviously see here we have 1 through 8. Well, that's okay. You already saw it. 1 through 8 seeded. If you want, do you want some percentages so you can see how much they won by?
Before we get to that,
okay.
I do want to specify. So I based mine solely off the theme song. I have a show on my thing that I never watched, but the theme song is such a banger. I had to make sure it was on my list. So
well, okay, so I have seen all of the shows that I have picked theme songs for, but there are some that you know, not necessarily a huge fan of the show. Like, I'm not gonna go clamor to watch it, but the theme song is just so memorable, you can't stop, you can't not sing it.
Right.
So that was my criteria.
Okay.
And I should also say before we go right into these, I don't know if you have any of them pulled up or if we did that, but there were obviously some that we did not choose.
Right.
I thought of note, a few that did not make the cut were Different Strokes, Full House.
Yes.
And then you had a couple as well.
Yeah, you know, there's actually several that I wanted to do, but they were technically an 80s show because they came out in 89. And I wanted the feeling of it to be more of, it felt like the 80s, whereas a lot of those shows felt like the 90s because the transition.
Yeah.
And so there was a couple that I wound up cutting, but also I had to cut Hey Dude. That song is so good, and it's like just immediately like, hey dude. But if there's anybody that's gonna make us not be able to show things on YouTube, it's Nickelodeon and Viacom. So,
I'm pretty sure this video is gonna get demonetized regardless of what we do.
I'm okay with demonetization. I just, man, like, we did a Salute Your Shorts. It was like a clip of something from Salute Your Shorts, and it was like, cannot be shown in the United States. And it was just like, dude, come on, fair use. What?
Yeah, it was like 15 seconds.
Yes.
I mean, it was so short.
Yes.
Anyway, all right, so the picks that we do have, we have a rating, and basically, like I said, I put my 4 up for votes, and people could only choose 1. And then I put your 4 up for votes, people could only choose 1. And then I looked at the total percentages of all of our 8 picks, and then I seeded them. Now, there were some ties, and I will be honest, all transparency here, there were some ties on both of our things, and if I seeded them one way, it was my pick versus my pick. And so I fudged just a bit to give you my pick versus your pick. But anyway, so obviously, as you can see, number 1 selection, the number 1 seed, Family Ties.
That's crazy to me.
I know.
I felt the same way about the holiday special. You know, like, I could not believe the number 1 seed, but they wound up winning. So
yeah. Oh, and if you end up liking this show, be sure to check out our holiday retro commercial, a Christmas commercial episode where we do another bracket style. So Family Ties was 36%, and then in your pick, Cheers. Number 2 with 33% of your pick. So the numbers aren't going to add up because I'm flipping between mine and Brian's. But, and then with 32% of my pick, Perfect Strangers. And then 29% of your pick, Golden Girls, and so on and so forth. The least popular is obviously here seated at number 8. Is Family Matters, and it only received 8% of my total vote.
I was blown away when I saw that. I couldn't believe it. But you know what? Maybe it's just that people are thinking of it as a 90s show.
Maybe.
Or maybe people just don't remember the glory that was Family Matters.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. Love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. It's the bigger love of the family.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, when I was looking up the Family Matter, I downloaded that, and then the next video that played was that, and I was like, oh my god, dude, I love deepfake so much, and this is the most amazing one I've ever seen.
So if you're just listening to the show, I apologize for us ruining that with our laughter, but Brian played a video of the intro where the faces had been deepfaked with, was that Mike Tyson?
Yep, it was Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson on every single face. So imagine little Richie coming up, and there's Mike Tyson. Jaleel White, Mike Tyson.
And it was Mike Tyson with the face tattoo, so it was perfect.
Gosh.
It was so good.
So good.
All right. Well, Preston, what do you know about Family Matters?
All right, so, let's take a look at the bracket first.
Okay. All right, let's see that bracket.
So the way it works out is the top seed go against the low seed, so that puts Family Ties against Family Matters. It's the battle of the families.
Ooh, Preston, I can't believe normally families come together, but this is one instance where families are being torn apart.
Torn to shreds. And one thing that also shreds are the theme songs. We just heard Family Matters. We'll hear Family Ties in a minute. But let me tell you about Family Matters. So Family Matters, it aired on ABC from, yes, technically the 80s. Mm-hmm. I was not as nice as you, Brian. This did air in 1989, September 22nd, and went all the way to May 1997. So I can see if you would think it's a 90s show because it did primarily air in the 90s. But they got into the dance on a technicality. So we're going to let them have it. And all told, 9 seasons, 215 episodes. And get this, it's a spin-off of one of our other picks. Mm-hmm. I did not remember this.
Oh, really? Yeah, because Urkel was I think he was went to visit of his family in San Francisco and hung out with this other family.
Perfect Strangers.
No, what?
That's what it says. It's a spin-off of Perfect Strangers.
That's not right, because Urkel was on Full House.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll have to look at that. This is what I got from Wikipedia, bro.
You tell me how this ties into Perfect Strangers.
I don't know how it ties in. I didn't get that part. I just wrote down this little tidbit, all right?
Okay.
So, now, here's something you don't know, is that the show's original theme song, and we're going to find this with a lot of our stuff, our show's original theme song was slightly different with a lot of them, but this one was really different because the main theme song was Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World. But they changed it after the 5th episode to what we listened to as days go by. Written by Jesse Frederick, Bennett Salve, Scott Rome, and performed by Jesse Frederick. It was the theme for the majority of the series all the way through 1995. And I on my picks anyway, I went and looked at who's the singer, who wrote it, want to know a little bit about him. Jesse Frederick, I really don't know much about him, except for the fact that this guy's an ace in the hole.
Okay.
An ace in the hole because it turns out one of the reasons I like so many of the songs that I do is because he wrote it. Mm-hmm. So my man Jesse Frederick wrote and or performed TGIF theme songs for, of course, for Family Matters, of course, Full House, Perfect Strangers, where supposedly the show originated from. And Step by Step.
Okay. So before we get emails about it, I looked it up. The a cameo in '91, so the show had already been on the air for 2 years before Urkel was on Full House. So.
Okay, all right. So mine holds up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I don't remember anybody being on Larry Appleton and Balky Bartok was the show.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'll have to look that up. But anyway, so Jesse Frederick, he's not really anybody of note that you would recognize outside of the TV show theme song, unless you're a fan of Deadly Force.
You're not good news.
It's the walk of the lonely in the dark of the night. It's the face on the shadow, got you in his sight. Deep on the corner, the cat with the gun. He needs a victim and you're the one. Keep on fighting, gotta keep on fighting, just to survive. Keep on fighting, it's a race through the finish. Keep it driving, keep on fighting.
Brian, do you recognize that song?
I do not recognize that song.
Me either.
But it's very like Pizza Terra, you know, like it's definitely inspired.
Yes. Well, I picked that one to be cheeky because I've never heard of it, and the video is kind of crazy. I've never seen the movie. It looks wonky, but it was like a early 80s action movie type vibe. So check out Deadly Force, as sung by Jesse Frederick, who also sang the theme song for Family Matters. So again, this one, I picked the show. Say what you will about the show. It's one where you're toe tapping the song, you're humming along, you're probably singing along, and I love like the soul that is brought to the song. And he's able to soar in the high notes, but yeah, I love it.
And the great piano jingle.
Thoughts? You like it?
I love that song.
Okay.
Like I said, I was blown away that was like the lowest song on the list.
Unreal.
I couldn't believe it. It's man, it's such an impact. All right, well,
it's got some
stiff competition.
It does.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to hear this song in order for me to really be wowed by
Family Ties.
I bet we've been together for 1,000,000 years.
And I bet we'll be together for 1,000,000 more.
It's like I started breathing on the night we kissed. Well, I can't remember what I ever did before. What would we do, baby, without us? What would we do, baby, without us? And there ain't no nothing we can't love each other through. What would we do, baby, without us? Sha-la-la-la.
It's good all the way through, and then that stinger at the end gets you even harder.
I think that's the best part.
Sha-la-la-la. Love it. Love it. I have so much to say about this theme song that I learned through Wikipedia. Thanks, Wikipedia. But I'm not going to share everything because I know we're going to talk about it as
Multiple
it goes
times.
forth.
Yeah.
Because I have a suspicion that it may beat Family Matters. But before I do, let me just say that Family Ties ran on NBC, premiering all the way back September 22nd, 1982, and lasted until May 14th, 1989. So 7 seasons, 176 episodes, a true titan of the 80s, an embodiment of a lot of the 80s, with not only the family structure and dynamic, but a lot of the topics that they discussed on the show. But that theme song was also very 80s. I mean, if you hear that theme song and said, what decade was this made? Yeah, that's the 80s.
If you asked me that, I would probably think 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it is early in the 80s, so it does have a little bit of that carryover of the 70s to it. But
I love that. One of my greatest joys of these sitcoms is watching where the trend where it like shows like the pictures of the people growing up, you know, in them. And man, Is there anything worse than a hippie that became like super successful like business person
who has a son that's a yuppie?
Oh, dude, it was so great. Like, the thing I will say, Family Ties has going for it as a show, because I did not like this show when I was a kid. It was super boring to me for some reason. But I like Growing Pains, which is weird. But the thing it had going for it was Mr. 80s was the son on the show. You know?
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
Well, say what you will about the show, the song is iconic, and I'll talk more about this as I think we're gonna see it again. The version you heard and saw was, again, the first season's song, which is different from later versions, and I'll go into that more because, Brian, what do you think? Who took this battle? Our first battle.
Man, going into it, I would have said Family Matters. Boy, it's hard to discern. I'm glad we're getting rid of one of them because I can't say the same thing over and over. But man, there is something chill and vibing about the whole thing.
It's
especially
like Burt Bacharach or like, like Michael McDonald a little bit, just kind of chill.
Yeah, I will give it to Family Ties because even though I didn't like the show, it is like when you told me about the idea for this show, I immediately thought of the Family Ties theme song because it is one of those theme songs that is super iconic.
Yeah.
And so I am fine with giving it to that.
All right. So also respectful of the voters, 25 of which voted for not Family Ties and gave Family Matters 8% of the vote. We're going to stick with that and honor that. And we're going to declare Family Ties as the winner.
All right. Well, Family Ties takes it this time. I'm sorry, Urkel, but you did do that.
Oh, that was so awful. I don't have a response. Family Ties, Family Matters, the Battle of the Families. It was a tough call, but ultimately one had to prevail. And that is the one that is more distinctly 80s than the one that is more distinctly 90s.
Yes.
So it only is fitting for the best sitcom of the 80s to be considered Family Ties. Still in the running. Still in the running. All right, our next bracket. We've got number 4, Golden Girls, against number 5, Growing Pains.
All right, Preston. We've got the little old ladies versus the up-and-coming family. Who do you think's gonna knock out the title for this one?
Well, if it has to be on sheer personality, I'm gonna have to go Golden Girls on this one. But it's not that. We're basing it off the songs of the sitcoms. So let's hear what we've got coming up for number 4 with Golden Girls.
There, you're gonna have to give me a second there, Preston, because
you weren't ready for that.
Yeah, these are not in order of anything. So, all right, Golden Girls. All right, this one. Here we go.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
All right, Preston.
This was your pick.
This was my
Let's hear
pick.
it.
All right, so Golden Girls. It ran on NBC from September 14th, 1985 to May 9th, 1992. A total of 180 half-hour episodes over 7 seasons.
Wow.
Man, that theme song, like, everything Golden Girls is so good. Like, if you think of, like, some of the most beloved, like, actors that have ever existed, it is the cast of this show, right? And then on top of that, you have this theme song, Thank You for Being a Friend. It was a song written by Andrew Gould, and he recorded it on his 3rd album, All This and Heaven Too. And that song reached number 25 on the Billboard Hot 100 list.
Oh, wow.
In 1978. And then the theme song for the TV show was a cover by Cynthia Fee because it was such a great song. And it totally just matches the mood for the show. Like, it's just best friends.
So I didn't know. See, that's new to me. I did not know that this was a song that existed before the show because it's so identifiable to this show.
Right.
And I was a young kid at the time anyway, so it's not like we were jamming out to the radio of "Thank You for Being a Friend" by Andrew Gold. So
cool thing about this show,
yeah,
I have been to that house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not just a studio lot?
Well, so for the external shots of the house, there had to be a real house for it.
Oh.
It is a set, though. So this show was, I think it's the second show that Disney produced underneath Buena Vista Television. And if you go to MGM tour, and you take like the studio tour, that house is on that studio tour.
Really?
Yeah. So
that is cool.
It's like they have like a whole neighborhood.
Have they used it for anything else?
I don't know, because the whole neighborhood are houses that they use for external shots for things, and so like that's all these houses are used for.
I'm gonna have to look and see if it was used for something else in other movies and stuff.
It's a cool trip. If you don't like, you should go do that. All that stuff changes so frequently. But I have pictures of the Flight of the Navigator spaceship because that was there. And then there's like Star Wars stuff and some other things. But
well, Golden Girls, it definitely has gotten a huge pop culture resurgence.
Yes.
I wasn't a huge fan of it growing up. I mean, it was a lot of old people humor and adult humor, not negatively, but just like over my head when I was 5 or 6 years old.
A lot of innuendos.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I may not have been allowed to watch it for all I recall, but I think so. So, pop culturally, I have an appreciation for it, but I really couldn't point to a single episode other than I do know that. Here's an interesting tidbit for you. This is my only Golden Girls tidbit. Quentin Tarantino had a very unsuccessful acting career. Very successful director, but very unsuccessful acting career. And one of the few things he did get cast for solely on his looks was as an Elvis impersonator in the background of one episode of The Golden Girls for Sophia's wedding. Now, he says it became a 2-part Golden Girls. So he got paid residuals for both parts. And it was so popular, they put it on a Best of the Golden Girls, so he got residuals for that every time it showed. He got maybe $650 for the episode, but by the time it was all said and done, 3 years later, he had gotten $3,000, and that's what he said got him through the pre-production time for Reservoir Dogs.
Wow, that's crazy.
So Golden Girls indirectly led to Reservoir Dogs.
Great movie.
So, that theme song is a solid song. What do you think it's going to go up against?
Well, Preston, the theme song that it's going up against, as we can see here, is going to be The Growing Pains.
Number 5 seed. We got 4 versus 5. It's a very tight match. What can be the winner? Let's take a look and see what Growing Pains has.
Show me that smile.
Ooh, show me that smile.
Don't waste another minute on your crying. We're nowhere near the
We're nowhere near the best is ready to begin.
Oh, as long as we got each other, we got the world spinning right in our hands, baby, you and me.
We gotta be
The luckiest dreamers who never quit dreaming. As long as we keep on giving, we can take anything that comes our way. Baby, rain or shine, all the time. We got each other, sharing the laughter and love.
I'm going to show my hand here. Out of all of my picks, this one's my favorite.
Yeah, it is a banger.
I respect people's decision that Family Ties to them is better than Growing Pains, but not to me. We'll see how this fares down the road. Who knows? It may not even be Golden Girls. I don't know. But for me, This one is just so smooth, so good. But I noticed something when we were playing that versus when we were playing Golden Girls that I want to bring up to you is that Golden Girls, their theme song snippet is a short one as compared to a lot of the other ones. You'll see on our show that a lot of the 80s TV show theme songs are a minute and a half, a minute 40. I mean, like, they let you get into it. They let you feel it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that I think Growing Pains goes above Golden Girls. But before we get into that, let me give you a little background about Growing Pains so you can totally appreciate this show and its song. Growing Pains aired on ABC from September 24th, 1985 to April 25th, 1992. So it did span across into 2 decades, but primarily in the 80s. And it ran for 7 seasons, 166 episodes. Now, again, you know, the theme songs were different kind of each season. So in this show, B.J. Thomas sang it solo in the first season. Then he added Jennifer Warnes in season 2, 3, 5, and it says part of 7. And then Dusty Springfield all of a sudden come out of nowhere in season 4 to join B.J. Thomas. And there was craziness on season 6 and 7. Who knows what's going on with that? Before I get into the singer talking about B.J. Thomas, one thing I learned by doing this research is that later seasons, you could see which character the show was going to be about, because at the end of the credits or the end of the intro, whoever left that family huddle last, because they like swapped it up. It wasn't always Jason or Alan Thicke's character,
Right.
that was last, and you could tell whoever lingered the longest, that was who's going to be who the show was going to be about.
I think that's a cool thing to do. Like, if for people that caught it and figured it out over time, to be like,
That sure wasn't me, friend.
You know, I think it's funny too, because, you know, you talked about Quentin Tarantino's experience with Golden Girls, and I think it's funny because Quentin Tarantino's current darling eventually became the star of Growing Pains.
What?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, I was like, Kirk Cameron. What?
No, he's God's little darling.
Yeah, he's Leo. What? I am so blanking here. What Tarantino film did Leo do?
Oh, he's been in tons of them. I think he didn't win for Django. He
oh, that's right. He was in Django.
He was in that.
Okay.
He's been in a couple. Like the last one he did win finally his Oscar.
Because I'm running through my head. I'm like, Kill Bill. No.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He finally won his.
That's
his,
right.
his
That's
Oscar.
right. Oh my gosh, that was so good. That was a good movie.
But the I think you know, a lot of these shows had the same type of growing pains that like throughout their course, right? It all starts with Happy Days jumping the shark, right? But like what would happen is these families would get older and older as these seasons went along, and we need to add something new to this family. And this family got 2 new things. They got Leonardo DiCaprio and then the daughter. They eventually had another daughter. Yeah, Chrissy.
Yeah, and she showed up like at 4 years of age, like nothing happened. But that also happened on Family Ties too, because they had little Andrew, right? Is that, I don't know, whatever, the little kid's name.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the song, which is the primary reason for this contest. The show's theme song, As Long As We Got Each Other, was written and composed by John Bettis and Steve Dorff, and it performed by B.J. Thomas. Now, I love doing this stuff because we actually do a little research for each episode. And so, you know, you hear these things all the time, and you never make these connections until you really look at it. So B.J. Thomas, he's not too shabby. He himself is an Academy Award winner. He won for the song, a cover of Burt Bacharach's Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, which won for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So he's an Oscar winner. And he also wrote a hit song. I'm familiar with this version because I grew up listening to my mom playing the oldies station.
Okay.
Other people may be more familiar with Blue Suede's version. But let's listen to B.J. Thomas's version of Hooked on You.
I can't stop this feeling deep in
All right, that's good enough.
Oh yeah. Oh man, hold on, I was gonna do this.
Love it.
All right.
So that one, you know, it's a very familiar tune. You might be more familiar with the Guardians of the Galaxy one that they played.
Mm-hmm.
The YouTube views certainly account for that. But so this guy is of some serious provenance here. A banger of a song. I can't get enough of it. I love it.
Yes, it is. It is a great song, and as much as I love the Golden Girls, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Growing Pains because
yes,
unlike Family Ties, I love this show growing up. And you know, we said Family Ties had the poster child of the 80s. Man, Growing Pains had the dad of the 80s, dude. Alan Thicke, man. And everything, he was like the best dad ever. I was trying to think of the name of that movie. Not Quite Human. It's so good. Like he's just the perfect dad. Man,
So
I
good.
love that guy.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
Hate his son.
say what you will. Hey, say what you will about Kirk Cameron now.
No. I'm talking about
Robin Thicke. I gotcha. But anyway, but still, say what you will about Kirk Cameron now. Kirk Cameron in 1987 was the bee's knees. He was a great sitcom star. And I love the show.
Kirk Cameron in like 1994, there was a video game called The Horde, and had FMV cutscenes, and Kirk Cameron was this like bumbling like squire guy. It was great.
And one more point for Growing Pains, they had a character named Boner. That's all I'm
There you
saying.
go.
Cockroach, Boner.
And actually, to tie this back into
Oh wait, Cockroach was Crosby Show. My bad.
but
Boner
Yes.
and there was another
I
guy.
don't remember his name.
Okay.
But to tie this back to WandaVision, because that's the impetus of this episode, is there's a reference to Boner because the guy that plays Quicksilver in the show, they look at his headshot in the show, and his name is like Richard Boner, and it is a direct reference to Growing Pains.
That's great.
Because actually, the guy the showrunner for WandaVision was on Growing Pains.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I know that. So, all right. Well, Preston, are we talking about taking the lead with Growing Pains over Golden Girl?
They may be golden, but they are not going to go to the sunset quietly. Oh, those Golden Girls. They did not beat Growing Pains.
Well, they've already gone through their pains, so up next we've got Perfect Strangers, right? This is the next one?
Yeah.
I'm so bad at reading brackets. Perfect Strangers versus Night Court. Oh my goodness.
Now, let's see if this one is as contentious. This is the number 3 seed, Perfect Strangers, versus the number 6 seed, Night Court. So there's a little preference here headed towards Perfect Strangers, but I don't know. Night Court, it could hold its own. It could take the top.
Oh, I think it can.
Let's see what we got for Perfect Strangers.
Oh, I wish there was an easier way to do this. Okay, here we go. Here comes Perfect Strangers.
Sometimes the world looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change. No matter what the odds are this time, nothing's gonna stand in my way. This flame in my heart is like a long lost friend, gives every dark straight light at the end. Standing tall on the wings of my dream, rise and fall on the wings of my dream. Through the rain and thunder, the wind and haze, I'm bound for better days. My life, my dream, nothing gonna stop me now. My life, my dream, nothing gonna stop me now. Nothing gonna stop me now.
Talk about a long song.
I
That
know.
one took you on a whole journey.
2 journeys.
Just like you saw in the intro to the show. Yeah, it had to help tell the story of 2 cousins from worlds apart coming together to help us understand ourselves a little bit better every week.
Also, I saw the tie-in to Family Ties.
Oh, did you?
Well, I don't know. They both moved to Chicago.
Yo, that's right.
So-
Yeah. That makes sense. So, Perfect Strangers. It's a great show. I actually own this one on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Came out in March 25th, 1986. Ran all the way till August of 1993 on also the ABC television network. 3 out of 4 of my picks were ABC shows.
Wow, you're just a Disney kid.
I guess. Maybe that just says something about the household I was brought up in and what I was allowed to watch. But it ran for 8 seasons for 150 episodes. And Nothing's Gonna Stop Me Now was written by our friend Jesse Frederick that we talked about earlier, but this time not performed by him, performed by David Pomeranz.
This is a huge song because, you know, I talked about earlier how I immediately thought of Family Ties. I also thought of Perfect Strangers, and then when I watched it, I was like, I'm gonna go with something else because I had something else that I wanted to play.
Okay.
So,
Okay. All right.
I am a fan of it though.
All right. Well, this is another one where the songs are a little bit different, but fortunately, each season, even though they change like the length of the song, it's still ultimately the same song. They just kind of did like a little cut here, a little splice there, but whichever version you're listening to, this one rules.
Yeah, I love how you think it's over, and then it comes back, and then showing Balky in the bus and everything like that. So, great show. I love that show.
All right, so what is up next? Looks like we've got some stiff competition among Night Court.
Well, you know, when Balky came to the U.S., he had to go through immigration or something, and
Some
so
legal proceedings somewhere. Is that where you're going with this?
Yep. So maybe it was, you know, they showed the New York harbor when he was coming in, and so maybe he had to go through at nighttime and have to deal with Judge Harry. So. Preston, that is a banger, son.
Okay, so I'll be totally honest here. You put down Night Court, and I know I've heard Night Court before. I watched that show, loved it. I'll be honest, I could not for the life of me think of what that song sounded like. But then I waited patiently. I knew I'd hear it tonight. I listened to it just now, and I heard that bass slap come in, and I was like, "Oh yes, I remember this one. So good." So
Oh,
good.
dude, it's like one of the best instrumental theme songs. You know, it's right up there with like Seinfeld and that kind of thing. Man, the tough thing, because when I was saying Judge Harry, I wanted so bad to say Judge Reinhold, but it's like a double whammy because this show was actually created by comedy writer Reinhold Wedge, and so you know, Judge Reinhold would have been great in the show too, but not nearly as good as Harold Harry T. Stone by Harry Anderson. So this show aired on NBC from January 4th, 84 to May 31st, 92. The setting was the night shift at the Manhattan Municipal Court. And, you know, Harry T. Stone, played by Harry Anderson, was the judge that presided over that court. You know, he had great characters and some spinoffs from the show as well with, oh, God.
Larroquette.
Yeah, John Larroquette. Well, it wasn't the John Larroquette show.
I think it was called Larroquette.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think so.
But what was his name on the show?
I don't know.
Oh. Well, I know there was also a show called the John Larroquette Show.
Huh.
But anyways, Bull. Everybody loved Bull. Bull was awesome.
Richard Mall.
Yeah. The I saw something with him recently, and I can't remember what it was. Man, that guy's the best.
Yeah, he's so good. I'm so glad he's still doing stuff here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Marsha Warfield, who he took over for after she passed away, right? No, she didn't pass away. The old lady passed away.
Yeah, I remember now. It was your movie, your Disney movie, your DCOM.
Oh, right.
The candy one with the kids, with the aliens.
What?
What was that movie with the candy factory and the water was drying up?
Oh, right. That movie's horrible. I don't remember
He's
the
in
name of
that.
it. Yeah, I remember that.
Anyways, so the every episode opened up with this slapping jazz influence theme song. So it was composed by Jack Elliott, featuring Ernie Watts on saxophone, while featuring video footage of New York City landmarks, because nothing goes better than jazz in the city.
Well, I like it. I think it's a great theme song.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian, I'm calling a referee right here. I'm going to give Night Court a technical foul.
Okay.
Because everything else that we have tonight is lyrical.
Yeah.
This is purely instrumental.
It's still a song.
I don't know, Brian. I thought we were going with all lyric songs here tonight.
there was never any rule. Hold on, let's see. I am pulling up something here. We have the best 80s sitcom theme songs, and an instrumental, my friend, is still a song. it's
There's so many I think we're gonna have to do a whole instrumental bracket next time. I mean, you got Saint Elsewhere, you got so many MASH.
I almost put MASH, but to me MASH is a 70s show.
Yeah, you could 6 and 1, who knows. All right, so you can leave that up. Leaving it up. Perfect Strangers versus Night Court.
Man, Night Court makes me want to dance, so I'm gonna go with Night Court because it makes me move my body, whereas Perfect Strangers does not. You should have had Brooke make the envelope.
Yeah, I did. I didn't do an envelope thing here.
I know how we can do it.
How can we flip this? Because we are torn right now.
Look at the Twitter polls, and
Yeah.
you can see which one's got the most votes.
Okay, let's see. All right.
Perfect Strangers was a higher seed, so. But individual votes, you should be able to see that.
Individual votes on the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Here we go.
Now take into account that yours was the main tweet and mine was the subtweet. so naturally.
What? No, but your set only got one fewer vote.
Oh, okay.
All right, so 25 people picked Perfect Strangers at 32%.
Okay.
And no, not 25 people picked. No, you can't pick. You can't see. You can just see percentages.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't see individual picks.
Even if you click on analytics.
I don't know, Brian. It's not worth it.
All right.
I'll give it to Night Court.
Just
to make Brian happy, even though Perfect Strangers is totally the better theme song.
No way.
That's fine. Night Court can be the little Cinderella story that's going to get obliterated by freaking Growing Pains.
Or
later.
is it going to come back from behind and take over? Because we all know that sports fans love a comeback.
All right, so sports fans may have a Cinderella story with Night Court defeating Perfect Strangers at the number 6 versus the number 3 position. But right on their heels, we have the number 2 versus the number 7. Number 2, Cheers, versus number 7, Gary Shandling Show.
Yes.
What's the Gary Shandling Show, you ask? I don't know, but Brian will tell us later.
Oh my gosh, Gary Shandling Show. Never seen it, but love the theme song. So, all right. Well, I guess first we're gonna have to go with something that everybody knows, as opposed to the unknown, because doesn't everyone want to go where everybody knows their name or something like that?
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
All right, Preston. Cheers. Everybody knows this TV show. Cheers was the first TV show that I remember, like, the finale thing being like a huge deal for everybody.
Sam and Diane.
Yeah, there were so many huge things about the show.
yeah.
And like spin-offs and all kinds of stuff, right? This show was on NBC from September 30th, 1982 to May 20th, 93. All right. I've been to this bar. Have you?
I've been to this bar too. It's
Okay.
in Boston,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look anything like the
Nope.
set. Not at all.
This show was set in a bar named Cheers, Beacon Hill in Boston, Massachusetts, where a group of locals meet to drink, relax, and socialize. The main theme song was co-written and performed by Gary Portnoy, and that's where the show got its motto, where everybody
Everybody knows your name.
everybody knows your name.
What?
You know, the motto that I have no idea what it is.
So good. Yeah, love Cheers, and I think this is one where everybody like could sing along with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big piano hit. Like it sold. I mean, people just listen to this. And this is another one where it's a minute-long theme song.
Yeah. Well, you know, longer than that, after this show came out, Portnoy and Judy Hart Angelo, they performed the song. They went, after the show premiered, they went back to the studio and recorded a longer version of it, and it topped the charts in America and in the UK.
Smart. Smart. Yeah, they did that with several songs. Like I know our friend Jerry Buckner made the song-length version of WKRP in Cincinnati. Because that little stinger, I mean, the intro was so hot that they had to stretch it out to a full song. And yeah, so Cheers was one of those ones that was just like, you could just, you know, it was, the bar and the whole thing about Everybody Knows Your Name was like a level of familiarity. And I think that the song offered itself a level of familiarity where it's just like comforting and soothing, but yet, you know, like upbeat. So this one's a great one. It's an all-time classic.
Yes. Yeah, just like the show. Like, the cool thing about this show is that it's still pretty fair, like pretty much holds up today, you know? Just like, you know, the spinoff Frasier and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've shown some episodes of Cheers to my kids, but it's hard picking like which one's a good one because I don't know it that well.
Right.
So they're hit or miss, I think, but most of them hold up well. And that dynamic between Cliff Clavin and Norm, oh, so good.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about how other shows had to like, because this was on for 11 years, right? And so you start getting long in the tooth, you got to add new family members, right? But if you're in a bar, I guess you could have people coming and going. But man, Woody, best addition ever.
Oh, yeah. Woody Harrelson did a great job coming in there after a longtime favorite passed away. I forget the actor and character name, but you know, the guy running the bar, he died, and so they had to fill in with this. Who could possibly take over for such a great character spot? And he just totally owned that role, made it his own, totally unique. And then, you know, Woody Harrelson's an incredible actor.
Yes.
But, you know, not only that, you got Kelsey Grammer in the mix.
Rhea Perlman.
Yeah, Shelley Long. I mean, Kirstie Alley. So many people on that show. And then who wasn't a guest star or had a guest spot? I mean, like, if you look at the guest list, it's like actor after actor after actor that you recognize from so many different projects. Yeah, Cheers, great show, great theme song. I think whatever we pick, I don't know what'll come down to number one, but I think out of all of ours, basically on all this list, I think the most tried and true classic is honestly Cheers.
Yeah, and it's probably the one that's the most recognizable. I knew that when I picked Cheers for this list, I was like, that's going to be everyone's favorite. And it's another show that I really didn't watch a ton, like growing up, and have, you know, never really gone back to it. But everybody knows that song. So it is funny how you talked about how the guest list for that show, you had all kinds of famous people on it, because this next show also has all kinds of people on it. Now, unfortunately, I could not get a good quality audio sounding of the
intro
with the video of the show behind it. So if you're watching the show, there's going to just be the lyrics of the song, which are not hard to keep along with to begin with. But this show it sounds amazing. I never watched it. We talked about it today, and you said you weren't a huge fan of it. But man, it's the Gary Shandling show.
Called me up and asked if I would write his theme song. I'm almost halfway finished. How do you like it so far? How do you like the theme to Gary Show? This is the theme to Gary Show, the opening theme to Gary Show. This is the music that you hear as you watch the credits. We're almost to the part of where I start to whistle. Then we'll watch It's Gary Shandling Show. The theme to Gary Shandling Show.
So dumb.
It is such a catchy theme song. So when I was picking my picks the other day at work, because like I immediately thought of this song. This is like the thing I was like, oh no, it has to be here. Like I have to have this on there. It was then stuck in my head all day long because I had thought of it. So the Gary Shandling Show was a really neat idea for a sitcom. So Gary Shandling was a stand-up comic, and he was in a theme or in a sitcom, but he knew it. Like he knew that he was in a sitcom, whereas the other people in the sitcom did not. Like, and so there was a lot of fourth wall breaking and that kind of thing.
This is on HBO, right? I think that's why I didn't really watch it that much.
It eventually went to Showtime, so I don't think
that's
it would
what
be.
I meant. It was on one of these pay channels.
It eventually was. So this show ran 72 episodes and was on the air for 4 seasons. It was later picked up by the broadcast Fox network from 88 to 90 as part of its Sunday night lineup, with minor cuts for language and advertising breaks.
Okay.
So the cool thing about this show too was, we had talked about how Cheers had a lot of guest appearances. The Gary Shandling Show had tons of famous people on, like Dan Aykroyd and a bunch of other famous comedians and stuff like that. And those guests that were on the show knew that they were on the show. So like it was like Gary Shandling, like they knew that they were on a sitcom, whereas the rest of the cast they didn't know. So it was a really interesting idea for a show, and it was so much so that it takes place like in his condo. And his condo was set up room for room to be just like Gary's real condo at his house.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
And so like I'm trying to think. He did I didn't write it down. But it was like Bellevue, Washington is where it took place, and that's where he was living before, like at the time when they came up with the show. And so they just set up everything to be like his real life. So I think it's a neat idea for a show.
So very humorous theme song.
Yes.
It's a good setup for the show, which is also very humorous.
Mm-hmm.
I have no affinity for the song or the show. I didn't really watch the show, and when I did, it just wasn't my type of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'd appreciate it more now, and I know I appreciate Gary Shandling as a comedian more now, but I haven't seen that show in years. I didn't remember the song when you mentioned it. Brian, I know you put it in there and you really do love the song, and I can see how it's an earworm, but it's going up against Cheers, bro.
I know.
And we're going to have to go ahead and give it to Cheers.
Oh, man, that's fine. I can concede to that because I understand. But man, it is such a good theme song, and I just wanted to put it on there to introduce the world to it because I know most people have never heard of it.
When is another time you're gonna get to have an excuse to talk about Gary Shandling show theme song?
Man, this is like one of those ones that like I said, I never watched the show, but I knew the theme song because of those CD compilations, and so like it was such like a big part of me listening to those. So.
I do want to know. I wish I knew that. Was this written purposefully to be cheeky, or do you think someone, when they wrote that, do you think they were like, oh, this will be funny if I just write it out like this? Like, I don't know, was it a naturally occurring funny thing? They're like, oh, let's keep that, that's hilarious.
So it's a funny thing. So when I was researching this, I found it. So there's a thing that says that the theme song is sung by Los Angeles musician Bill Lynch, But then I saw something else where it said a different person did it, and it's like some like Midwestern like famous person. And so I don't know, maybe one of them wrote it and the other one sang it.
Weird.
But yeah, I think it's cool. Like it's self-referential, and like it basically sets up the idea of the show like in a very clever way. So
all right. Well, sorry, but no cigar. We're gonna give this one to a cheers.
All right. Well, Preston, I think that I was trying to figure out how to transition that. Well, cheers.
There we go.
Cheers. Ted Danson knocks out Gary Shandling with the taking the top, the cream of the crop, and knocking it off the head of the beer. Cheers takes the tide. So, now what we got? We have Family Ties.
All right, so we have the final four. Here are your final four. We've got Family Ties versus Growing Pains, and Night Court versus Cheers. Ooh. All right. So I think you might have your favorites picked between those two head-to-head matchups, but I don't know. It could be tight. We got number 1 seed Family Ties versus number 5 seed Growing Pains, but a personal favorite of Preston's. Let's see how this plays out.
All right. Well, Family Ties, Growing Pains. Man, 2 bangers.
So I don't know that we need to play them all again. So let me just tell you, Family Ties. Here's some. Remember I told you at the top of the show we played Family Ties? It's like, I'm not going to tell you now. I'm going to tell you later.
Yes.
Family Ties blows my mind with all the coolness behind this theme song. So the theme song, again, Without Us, it was credited in season 1 as just Us. But still composed by Jeff Barry, Tom Scott in 1982. Here's what's crazy. During the first season, which is what I played for you, it was... Oh, sorry. Let me give you a little background on Jeff Barry and Tom Scott. So Jeff Barry, he's an American pop singer, songwriter, producer. Now, he had some successful songs on his own that he co-wrote. Dude, listen to this. Dude wrote Do-Wah-Diddy. Do you know that one?
Yeah. Do-Wah-Diddy.
Do-Wah-Diddy-Diddy-Dum-Diddy-Do. Yeah, and he did Da-Do-Ron-Ron, and then he did Then He Kissed Me, and...
Wait, what's that one?
Then He Kissed Me.
Yeah.
And then Be My Little Baby.
I know that one.
That one. Chapel of Love, bro. This guy, he knows some good music, okay? So Jeff Barry wrote this with Tom Scott. Tom Scott, he wrote his own theme songs that were great. He did the theme song to Starsky and Hutch, wrote that. Dude is an original member of the Blues Brothers, okay? And I don't even know what this is, but he played the Lyricon, which is an electronic wind instrument. Played that on Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. So dude gets around, studio musician, session musician, wrote great. The two of them together wrote this great theme song. Now, again, in season, for the rest of the shows run after season 1, the Without Us song is sung by Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams. So stars in their own right. They don't need any explanation. But that's why I had Brian play season 1's version featuring Dennis Stefano and Mindy Sterling. Dennis Stefano, he was an original lead singer for the Buckinghams, and they had 5 big hits on the Billboard Hot 100, starting with chart-topping Kind of a Drag. Kind of a Drag. You don't know that one?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
Keep going. Maybe I will.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know the full song, but it knocked off "I'm a Believer" from the the number 1 spot. And then they have "Don't You Care, Don't You Care." Do you know that one? No. I listened to a lot of.
What was the name of this band?
The Buckinghams.
Oh yes, I do know the Buckinghams. I feel like I had a Buckingham album or something.
And then Mercy, 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 and Hey Baby, they're playing our song. You know that one?
It sounds like a Tony Bennett song.
It does.
Or Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Anyway, they had that one. Tons of stuff. So this guy, He's a good singer. All right, here's the curveball. All right, so go listen to the Buckinghams. They're great. And this is the guy who sang the first seasons without us.
Well, we have Peanut in chat said that they saw the Buckinghams in concert.
There you go. Great band. All right, here's the curveball for you. Mindy Sterling. Does that name sound familiar at all?
Is she from The Office?
No.
Okay.
She is an actress, though. The lady who sings on this song played Frau Farbissina on Austin Powers.
Okay.
And currently she's on like the Goldbergs as like a supporting cast member. You would recognize her if you saw her.
Mm-hmm.
Google Mindy Sterling and remember the just the crazy lady from Austin Powers. Picture that, and she's the one singing this song for Family Ties.
Well, that's pretty crazy.
All right. So Family Ties going against Growing Pains. Brian, what do we do?
Oh man, Growing Pains. All right.
I sorry. Since we're doing Growing Pains,
I
told you I'd look up Alan Thicke because he himself is a TV show theme songwriter.
Yes.
Do you remember which theme song he did? Did you think of it? Did you think about it?
No.
Super famous one, and I wish we had it to play, but it was one of our honorable mentions. He wrote the theme song to Different Strokes.
Oh, nice. But he didn't sing it.
And he did the theme song to another of our honorable mentions, Facts of Life.
Wow, that's awesome.
Alan Thicke did that. So say what you will about Robin Thicke, but apparently musical talent runs in the family.
And well, you know what? Alan Thicke was in Robin Thicke's first music video, or at least the first one I remember seeing.
I didn't see it.
I thought it was really weird that Alan Thicke was on a music video.
All right, so it's this is really tough. Brian, are you going to give it to Family Ties or are you going to give it to Growing Pains?
Oh man, you know what? Let me just hear a little bit of Family Ties.
Okay.
All right, now let me just hear a little bit of Growing Pains.
There's no contest.
It's gonna be Growing Pains. It has to be Growing Pains.
It's so good.
All right, it is Growing Pains.
All right, Growing Pains takes down the #1 seed. Brian, it's an upset. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you know what? It actually makes me really happy because I love Growing Pains way more than Family Ties.
Oh, good. Yeah, me too. All right, sorry, voters. You were wrong. Total upset. Okay, so Growing Pains takes it. That means we need to decide who Growing Pains goes against in the final showdown. So we have Night Court versus Cheers.
Oh, well, hold on a second, because I just wanted to play something real quick.
Okay.
This is probably something exciting for people.
This is the theme to Gary
No!
Show. The theme to Gary Show.
All right, I just want that to get stuck in everybody's head tonight. All right,
No.
so
No Gary Show.
Cheers versus Night Court. All right, let me
Play that bass.
I was gonna say, let me make an argument here for you. Ready?
Okay.
Oh, it's gonna take a second, so I'm just gonna just close your eyes, picture yourself in line at the courthouse.
Before that horn comes in, I feel like the Commodores are about to sing Night Shift.
Well, hey, that makes sense. That's for Night Court. Ready? Ready? This is my favorite part right here.
So good.
All right.
But, all right, so good.
Oh, wait. It's going to keep going.
No.
All right.
All right, it's so good. But my gosh, it's going against Cheers.
Yeah. You know, I will say the Cheers theme song was also a Billboard top hit, and Night Court's theme song was not.
I think that's a vote for Cheers.
Okay,
We got to give it to Cheers. Night Court, you did a good battle. Oh, we got one of your picks versus one of my picks. That advances Night Court. Oh, sorry. I mean, Cheers all the way to the title game. Cheers versus Growing Pains. Whew.
All right, well let's do let's check them both out one last time just so they're fresh because we've heard a lot of crazy things. So
Jump to the middle or something.
oh, you can't jump to the middle.
That smile,
Show me that smile.
don't waste another minute on your crying. We're nowhere near the
We're nowhere near the best is ready to begin.
Oh, as long as we got each other, we got the world spinning right in our hands, baby, you and me.
We gotta be
The luckiest dreamers who never quit dreaming. As long as we keep on giving, we can take anything that comes our way. Baby, rain or shine, all the time. We got each other, sharing the laughter and love. Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
This is still so tough. I
It
mean,
is.
even hearing it back to back.
Well, the reason I did it back to back was because listening to Growing Pains, I was like, Growing Pains wins this, hands down. But then, like, because I have to be careful to not be biased because I like that show more than Cheers. But man, Cheers, the theme song is so good.
So here's one way to think about it. What if the choice we were making tonight meant that you never heard that song again?
I would go with Growing Pains, hands down.
That you would never hear it
Oh,
again?
no, that I'd pick over Cheers.
Yep. I could live my life without ever hearing Cheers again. I could not live my life without ever hearing Growing Pains again. And I think that's the strongest case it has for it. Personal nostalgia, I don't know, it's probably intertwined.
Yeah.
But to be clear, I'm sure Cheers' theme song is really listening to this show, so I want to be fair to it and let it know that it did a really, really good job.
Yeah. And hey, the people picked it. It was the #1 seed.
No, it was the number 2 seed.
Oh, was it?
Something. But
Wait, we
let's check that
if
out.
only there was a way to check.
Yeah,
to
let's
check.
see what that was.
Oh, there it is. Okay, and let's see.
The original, yeah, it was original number 2 seed.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was my #1. People,
it was your number
people
1.
had picked it.
But yeah, Family Ties already went down, so Cheers was the one holding the bracketing structure together. But number 2 Cheers versus number 5 Growing Pains.
Wow, and Growing Pains takes it.
Growing Pains takes it.
I can't believe it, Preston.
Show me that smile again.
We've seen upsets before in the past. Who could have seen this one coming?
Probably both of us.
Actually, I thought for sure Cheers was going to win this tonight.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. And I was telling Paige earlier tonight. I'm pretty sure Cheers is going to win, like hands down. And I don't even like that show that much. But man,
I'm sure we're going to hear it in the comments, and I'm sure we're going to get some nasty fan mail about this. But yeah, for us, if we could pick one song to never hear again between those two,
yes.
yeah, I'm fine. I heard Cheers. I'm good. Growing Pains, it's a banger. It's got a guitar riff in it, man.
Yeah, dude.
Come on.
And it sticks with that thing that I said I like during the intro, which is showing the people growing up. Like Cheers kind of has that because you see like the time growing up, you know.
Yep.
But man, what a good song.
So with that in mind, that we talked about earlier, these were all mostly lyrical songs.
Yes.
And there's so many good songs that we didn't touch that were instrumental. There's the A-Team. There's MacGyver.
Well, that's why I asked. I said, does it have to be
There's
sitcoms?
And that's why I went with sitcoms, because I thought that narrowed the field enough to where it could actually be manageable. Because otherwise, 80s theme songs is just so many to contain. So we may have to revisit this another time. And then we may have to also open this up to the 90s next time. So maybe Fresh Prince will get its fair game. There's
so many different ways to that we can look at, just based off what's going on in current pop culture. And I cannot wait for the day that Michael Knight and B.A. Baracus have to settle the score between the two of them. So
I will be looking forward to it, and I will most certainly continue to celebrate the glory days of TV show theme songs that were longer than 15 seconds.
Yes. Oh yeah. And you know what? Those shows will be longer, or will be less longer than this one, because those theme songs are way shorter.
Yeah, shorter show. Hey, we hope you enjoyed sticking around with us for this longer than normal show. And if you were watching the feed for the little technical snafu we had there, thanks for sticking with us. Yeah, this is fun to do. We love this show. Sometimes, I mean, we really don't pick a winner ahead of time. It is just who gets paired with what, and how we're feeling that day. And but you helping us out with seeding those really helped, and your comments and encouragement and listening to the show always helps us make it through another week, another 2 weeks to where we'll do it again.
Yeah. And if you could do us a huge favor and tell somebody about the show, if you do that, it really helps us out. If you want to go one step beyond, now that I'm the ska man, you could check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Wayback Attack, as several of you have already done.
Yeah, we'll have a bonus show for our patrons later this month, and we'll also have a regular show for everybody else in just 2 short weeks. And stay tuned for another one of those. You can find me on social media at SquareStiff, and you can find Brian on Twitter at
BE Grantham, and you can find the show at Wayback_Attack. So I should have already started the theme song outro.
So same bat time, same bat channel in just a few short weeks. We really appreciate you watching it. Hit us up with some feedback on social media, or send us an email, waybackattackshow@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. Thanks.